Hi, I'm Dionne Friesen from Poppy Joy Pompoms, and today I'm going to show you how to make these cute little pom-pom hangers. I've been doing this for about 2.5 years, but I've been making pom-poms I'd say for around 6 years, and people often ask why pom-poms, and I don't have a definite answer. I just know I love things that are cute and whimsical, and it's just something I enjoy doing, and so I'm looking forward to sharing this passion with you guys, and I hope you guys love it too. So there's 3 basic pom-pom makers, so go through each of them in case you have a different one that I'm going to use, but I will be completing mine on the Loome tool. We'll start with this clover one. It opens on both sides, so we'll start with one side, keep them both together, and we'll do a pink here. I kind of asked on Instagram what kind of colors you guys would want, and I just got too overwhelmed, so I think I'll just do whatever colors I feel like it to make. So you want to start by holding your yarn, and then you just wrap. It's really simple. You don't need to wrap too tight and not too loose, and I like to wrap until the yarn gets flush, and so it's not an arc anymore, it's kind of straight line. And so it's really pretty basic. I typically use 100% acrylic yarn. I find that it wears the best if it's something that's going to be like on your bag or your keys, but any type of yarn should work. I do find that alpaca is the least user-friendly, only that it sometimes rips when you try to tie it. So if you're using a thicker yarn to wrap, you'll want to use a thinner one when you go to tie your pom-pom. So we'll just leave it about like this, and then you close it, and then just snip off the end. And then you would do the other side as well. I'll move over to this one, which is a little trickier to use, but it's the same concept. You want to match up the kind of bubble end with the holes, and it kind of fits together. So we'll start wrapping the one side again, and we'll use this turquoise here. My friend suggested I make a pom-pom that matched my outfit, so I guess this one kind of matches. Stop this. So then you just wrap. There was one time I was prepping for a really big market, and I wrapped so much I actually wore off my fingerprints, and I couldn't log into my phone with my thumbprint. I had to use my passcode every time, so now I make sure I use a lot of salve or lotion so that I don't wear off these fingertips. Especially in the winter. I find the winter is really hard on your hands when you're working with yarn a lot. So I'll just keep wrapping until it gets flat. Someone's asking, how did I get into making pom-poms? So I started making them for myself. I didn't even know where, but out of the blue, I just became obsessed with pom-poms, and I started making them actually using my fingers, wrapping around my fingers. I didn't know that pom-pom makers existed at the time. And then for Christmas, I decided I was going to make this garland for the living room, and it was like this beast. It probably weighed 5 to 10 pounds, I don't know, but it spanned the whole living room, and I loved it so much, and I was sad to take it down at Christmas time. My husband was like, you know what, just keep it up a bit longer, and I was like, done. And it stayed up for, I'm pretty sure it stayed up for 11 months. And then when I was pregnant with my daughter, I wanted to make some garlands for her nursery, so I made one for above her crib, and then I made another one for above her bassinet. At the time, I was working at an insurance company, but I have a fine arts degree, and so Insurance is the least creative career you could be in, I guess. And my husband encouraged me to just do something creative on the side, and he suggested pom-pom since I kind of had an obsession with it, and then I just started. I would like to try to get back into making them wrapping around my hands because it does have a different look. With the pom-pom makers you get a more symmetrical, perfect ball, but the wrapping around your hands kind of has a little more like organic shape to it, which I really like. Sometimes with garlands I try to mix and match like the perfect circles with a little more messier pom-pom, but the pom-pom makers are definitely easier to use than your hands because your fingers start to squish. And so this keeps it even. So again, I'm going to wrap. Sometimes I do a little bit too much and it doesn't close properly, but we'll see when I get to the end. I know this, I always try to pull it from the center, but then I get this. Once in a blue moon I will have to snip it, which is frustrating, but I'll just try untangling it a bit. It's like a cat got to it or something. We don't have any cats, but I've had people ask if they recommend getting a garland when they have cats, and I've had to talk some customers out of it because it's like a cat magnet. So I've got it to pretty flush, and so I'll snip this end. My hands are shaking a bit. I'm a bit nervous, but I'll loosen up soon. This pom-pom maker has like a couple snaps. Mine eventually always fall off. So you snap and it's secure. And then what you want to do is cut around the perimeter on all the way around. So snip this. And so sometimes you have to do a little snip. Sometimes it's easier doing it with the tip of your scissors, unless you have really good scissors. These ones I just got because I use my scissors so much they get dull pretty quickly. So I've snipped through on the half there, and I'll flip it over and snip the other side as well. So if you were using this one, you would have done both sides and you would have snipped the exact same way all the way around. And then you want to get a string. I would say, for a yarn, what is this, like a 1.5 feet, 18 inches. And just going to snip, and you want to feed it through.
Show us that kind of close.
So you're going to feed it through and pull it pretty snug till you know it's around the yarn. And then we're just going to tie a knot on one side. I primarily like to work with acrylic yarn because there's actually a lot more colors too, and it just wears well for what I make them with. And then just the sometimes I have to buy quite a few colors, and I find it's more affordable to get 100% acrylic. Sometimes I'll use a blend that's like 80% acrylic, 20% wool. Sorry, so I flipped it over. I'm so used to doing this all the time. It's like second nature. I'm not even showing you. So you flip it over, and then you want to tie on the opposite end as well, just to give a double knot. Make sure your pom-pom is nice and secure. So we have that. Then we could open up our snaps. I never closely snaps. These ones are really on there. There we go. I thought I was going to have to use my teeth there for a minute. I might have to on the other side. No, I got it. So you open it up, and it's like magic, and you have a pom-pom. So your pom-pom's going to be a little bit oblong, almost like a football shape, so we're going to want to trim it down to make sure it's a perfect circle. I have my trusty bowl here, but you can use a bag or a piece of paper to collect your trimmings. They do get all over the place. So you could just cut the long ones right off, so that's even. Pom-pom makers do come in different sizes. Usually this one comes in 4 different sizes. You'll have, I believe, 2 sizes bigger and 1 size smaller, or vice versa. And then this style usually comes in a 2 size. And then the Loome, on their site, they have various sizes, but the ends have different sizes. I'll actually move over to the Loome tool before I start trimming that guy for you, but I'm going to use the bigger end, and we'll use a blush.
Just show me the difference between the bigger end and the smaller end.
So it's just slightly larger here than at the bottom. So we're going to use them. I like to use both sides for the hanger. So the bottom one I've used the bigger side, and the top one I've used the smaller one. But if you want, you could use both the same side. There's no rules to pom-poms. Alright, so we'll just get it like this, and you hold it with your finger and start wrapping, and once it's wrapped around the starter string, you could just keep going. So with this one, you want to be careful not to slide off the end. And I like to wrap around until it's about maybe a good 2 inches. I like to make it pretty big. Got a tangled here. I think I'm going to get a tangle, but we'll keep going and hope for the best. Still give a few more wraps. Alright, so we're looking like we're getting close to being done. So I have about this much yarn on there. I'll do a couple more wraps because I like a nice fluffy pom-pom. Snip. Alright, then we'll get, I always like to tie with a thinner yarn. And as long as it's 100% acrylic, there is something called strong string, which pom-pom makers often use. I think it's similar to dental floss, but I've never used it. But that's where, if you were tying with a yarn that's made from wool or acrylic, it could snap because you want to tie it pretty tight. So I found that the acrylic yarn snaps the least amount for me, but it does once in a while, which is frustrating. So you want to make sure it's still not sliding off. And then I'm going to tie it. Okay, so you want to tie it pretty tight. It almost looks like a little figure 8 or an infinity symbol. And then tie a knot. And then you could slide it off. And then reverse it, and then bring the strings up and tie on the other side. Move some of the yarn out of the way. Alright, so with the Loome tool you kind of have, it's loops on both ends. So you have loops on the top and loops on the bottom, top now. And then you just want to snip it like you did with the other makers. And so just snip all the loops. So I'm snipping through. There's going to be a bunch of layers. And you could just, sometimes there's some that get missed, but you'll see it when you're trimming. And then do the other side. now I think I've got all the loops snipped, so this one comes out a little bit more of a irregular shape. Oh, there we go. So I'll bring my bowl over here, and you're going to want to trim off like these long ones right away. You can see it's those. You can just give a good snip on either end, and then what you're going to want to do is like you kind of have it squished down like this, kind of in a circle, and you're going to want to make it look like a circle when you're trimming. So just kind of go around and trim. So this usually gets all the loops that you've missed. So I've gone and trimmed around, kind of making a circle. We'll snip these guys. And then you'll want to switch it the opposite way, and then kind of make a circle shape that way. So that kind of makes sure that it's perfectly round when you're done. If you want to shag your pom-pom, then just trim a little bit less. If you want it to look more compact, then you could trim it down quite a bit. So you can fluff it back up, and then you can see if there's some stragglers. So we have some here. Sometimes I get obsessive with this. The pom-pom's gonna get quite a bit smaller once I'm done, but I love the shaggier look when you use the loom tool. And so we'll leave it like that. I'll go back to the one I made in the pom-pom maker. So it's a bit of oval shape. We'll snip these. So you want to give a good snip, and then again go around. And then the other side where you have the extra. And then fluff it, and then you could go and snip the extra bits here. I like to kind of move my scissors along. Sometimes there's little ends tucked in that you miss. That's pretty good. I would probably go on and trim this for like an extra 5 to 10 minutes, but I'll leave that one alone for now. So I'm going to use a smaller end now on the loom tool, and I'll use a skinnier yarn. Let's see what color. Sometimes I'll just see like a color combination just kind of in front of me. My cousin said mustard, so we'll do what my cousin said. Someone just said on Facebook that she loves pom-poms, and when she was a kid she made them for her figure skates. And actually my friend, she just bought roller skates because that's coming back, which I think I am too old to do that now. Last time I did it, about 10 years ago, I was sore for a couple days. But she asked me to make some pom-poms for her skates. So. Like adding pom-poms really to anything makes it cuter. Like I don't know. Like attitude. I want to make some for some shoes. They used to have tassels, but they fell off. So I decided I'm going to add some pom-poms. I may have a little pom-pom pin, instant cuteness. Add it to your purse, instant cute. Alright, so the thinner yarn, obviously you'll need to wrap it a bit more than if you were using a thicker yarn. So I have this tangled bit of yarn. Sometimes it works out perfectly and you get to the end of your yarn roll and it all came out seamlessly, and sometimes you get this. Okay, I'll just untangle this a bit. Sometimes though it's so bad I'll have to like untangle each end and just cut it until I have some decent pieces of yarn. Alright, we'll see. This is for you, Jackie, the mustard. I love mixing mustard with pink. She suggested blush pinks and mustard. That's one of my favorite combinations. I obviously love pink. If you follow me, I use a lot of pink. And sometimes I try to use some restraint and not use pink, and it gets hard because I always think, well, pink would look amazing with this, and it usually does. But I'm getting better. See, I did this demo and I was like, oh, don't add pink, but can you imagine if like this one was pink instead? How cute that would have been. But actually, I don't actually even wear that much pink, but for pom-poms, it's all about the pink for me. I don't know. I like pink things. I just don't like wearing it so much. This one's pretty tangled. I don't know. We'll see. I think I'll start on the other end. Well, you guys just keep wrapping while I untangle my messy yarn. I should have been more prepared, but I have a 2-year-old and a 4.5-year-old, and my 4.5-year-old will let me make a pom-pom here and there, but my 2-year-old today, oh, what did he get into today? Well, he got into the toilet today. Yesterday he got into the records and threw them around. So that's just what a 2-year-old does. He scales things, pushes things, he finds anything and puts in his mouth. And so I actually don't get to make as many pom-poms as I would like during the day, but I'm a mom first and a pom-pom maker not even second, so, but he is something else. Okay. I don't know, guys. It's pretty tangled, but we're gonna get through. Okay. You could add more than 2 pom-poms to the hanger. You could add as many as you want. I think 3 would be really cute. My friend brought me back a cute little pom-pom hanger from Mexico, and it had 3 pom-poms on there and a tassel at the bottom. So really, I guess you could add as many as you'd like. I would say 2 to 3, but definitely add some more pom-poms on there. The more the merrier. Right, so if I was prepared, I would have untangled my yarn ahead of time, but like I said, my 2-year-old doesn't let me get too much during the day. Okay, we're gonna cut and start at a different point. Actually, I'll get to the end and I'll cut. All right, this is as far as I could go. I had another mustard that was perfect that I could have used, but I was like, oh, I'll use up this end bit of mustard. I have so many end bits, and I like to use those for individual pom-poms when I can. I haven't ever tried using a yarn wool. I've seen them, but I think the way that the yarn I buy, maybe someone could correct me, but isn't conducive to a yarn wool. But I should actually learn more about yarn. People ask me like what the weight is or what the, I can't even think of is. And I'm like, I don't know. I just know I like pink yarn, mustard yarn. And I like, sometimes I use the fluffier ones, sometimes I use the thinner ones, but so I have trouble if I'm like trying to sort online to see what kind of yarn I want. I'm like, I don't know the weight. So I should learn. Okay, I think we have enough now. Okay. So this one I'll do it, it's about maybe an 1.5 inches, 2 inches. Oh no. Should I just start over, guys? Jackie, I was doing this mustard one for you, but I don't know, it's fighting me. We got this. Oh, look at that. So like width-wise, you'll take it to both the width of the maker and just try to make it not slide off the end because it gets tricky when you want to tie it. And then this way you want it, I don't know, is that about an inch, I would say? An inch, inch and a half. Okay, I think we're getting there. All right, so this looks pretty good. Let's snip it. The pom-poms, someone's asking how do I make the pom-poms that have the speckled colors in them. Sorry, let me just tie this first. Obviously I can't multitask right now. So when you're wrapping, you'll just want to periodically just add different colors in. And then you'll snip and then add some more of the main base color and then add the accent color. This is pretty good. Okay, so again, we're going to tie a pretty good knot on one side. The speckled ones are trickier to use. Sometimes I feel like I need like an extra 2 hands to make them. And sometimes I do other designs too, and it's just trying to use your fingers to hold the parts that you snip to keep them in place. So I'll slide it off now. I tied it on the one side. We'll pop it off and then we'll just reverse the string and tie a tight knot on the other side. All right, so you have a cute little bundle here. You can cut off these long ones right away. And again, we're going to cut through and snip the loops on each end. Oh. Pom-pom fuzz is all over my house. I'm pretty sure I breathe it in sometimes, but not too bad. I actually heard of a girl who, she makes giant pom-poms, but she had pneumonia apparently from pom-pom clippings. I haven't noticed any issues, but should definitely be aware. All right, I think, oh, there's always little guys hiding in there. Okay, so this way, it's pretty crazy looking. Oval, we'll give a good snip. Take about that much off. And then you could go and snip the opposite end. And then just go around in the circle. Snipping is actually, like trimming pom-poms is so satisfying. Getting all the long ones off and making a perfect circle. It's very therapeutic, unless you're making tons for a sale. It's, yeah, I enjoy doing it. Okay, so I've done around this side, so I'll kind of grab it on the opposite end. And we'll go around again. My most favorite things to create with pom-poms would probably be garlands, because there's just so many different color combinations you could do. I think that's one of my favorite things about pom-poms is the color combinations. I made a few recently that were just inspired by different things, like I saw great pictures on Pinterest of a cotton candy sky, so the blues and the pinks and the purples, and I was like, I could make a garland like that. And my friend Mercedes of Maison Corazon, she is so good with colors. She inspired me to make a garland in a Maison Corazon palette. Or I found an image of these great velvet cushions. Or just like, but often it's just like how they're piled in my bundle. Like I think this would be a really cute garland right now. But my favorite thing is, yeah, the color combinations and making garlands. The first thing I started making when I started Poppy Joy Pompoms were garlands. And then I thought I needed a smaller item that was easier to like pick up at a market. So keychains came to mind. And at the start actually my garlands didn't do that well, but now they're starting to pick up, which is cool because that was what I love and what I started with. And it's just so nice, like when you're passionate about something and for other people to be passionate about the same thing and just seeing the joy that it brings them. Something that you've made, it's a really cool feeling. Alright, so this guy is getting fine. I could trim this guy to be like super tiny, but I won't. Okay. I don't ever buy yarn in bulk. Once in a blue moon, if I'm making, I say once in a blue moon a lot. I think I've said it 2 or 3 times already in this half an hour. The base I use for the keychains is a cream, and so I'll buy like big bundles of those, and then I'll use different accent colors, but in general I buy one-offs, and I kind of stick to the same colors. I'm always getting mustard and turquoise and these colors here, but once in a while I'll like branch out, and lately I've been really into neons. I picked up this great neon yellow. It's like, looks like a highlighter, and neon pinks, and I picked up a neon orange, and even just like trends, whatever the trends I'll get into, although I'm not really into the Pantone's color this year though. It's just like a basic blue. It's not my jam, but I actually don't use blue too often. I love baby blue and a nice royal blue or navy, but just like regular blue. Okay, so we'll move this out of the way. Oh, look at it. I just have confetti all over here. So I'll use my bigger pom-pom and I'll add it with a smaller pom-pom. So you're going to want to cut a string, I'd say about 2 feet long. Let's see the color. We'll do this one. I think that will look really cute. There's another question. It says, when I make them, the yarn wiggles through the center tie. How do you stop this from happening? So that's why I like to tie, when I reverse it and tie on the other end. Sometimes I even do 3 times because when I first started making it, I noticed, yeah, they wiggle out and they just pop out. And so when you give them a pretty good tie on both ends, you can even do 3. They're more secure in there, and so they shouldn't wiggle out. And also making sure you're adding enough yarn. So like when I use this one, you want to make sure you fill it up. If it's too skinny, then it's gonna fall out of your pom-pom. So for this part, you'll need your yarn needle, and we're gonna do the bigger one first. So you come in closely. You want to look for the string that you tied around. So I usually kind of squeeze until I could find the string. I should have done it in a opposite color so it's easier to see, but there we go. So you can see the yarn that I'd used to wrap around. Oh, I should have threaded my needle first. So we'll thread the yarn through here. Obviously, we're going to do the eye. Oh, I didn't thread it properly. Guys, I'm a hot mess. Okay, so you got it through, and then you'll find the string. So it goes like this, and then you're going to want to go perpendicular. It's my big word for today. And you want to string it through. All right, and then just even the strings out. I'll snip this at the end. Okay, and then you'll want to now thread both ends through. You do one at a time if it's not threading properly. I kind of made this one unravel, so it's mad at me. I might have to snip it before I can get it in there. Okay, so we're threading. This is like the easiest needle to thread, and of course, the cameras are on me. Okay, so you have both thread it through, and then you'll grab your smaller one, or if you made it the same size. And again, you'll look for the tie around. Okay. So I found the tie, so I know that's where I've tied it around. And so you could thread it through, making sure it's perpendicular to the tie, but right in the middle of the pom-pom. So it goes right in, and pull it out. And there you go. See, I probably would have spent a lot more time trimming these, so now it's like getting me that there's these stragglers, but. So where would you guys tie these? I would tie them, I have a door hanger that I make that's similar, has tassel band. I do put on my door. I have a similar one here that I've added to a bag. And so basically wherever you could tie something onto or hang something, you could put a pom-pom. Lately I've had some customers who've been hanging them in their rearview mirror, which is so cute, as long as you can see. Don't blame your tickets on me if they created a blind spot with your pom-poms. But let's just give this one a little bit more of a trim. Okay, I'm feeling bad about this one. So if you have this one, I'll go and finish the other side. So that if you're using this one at home, you know what to do. Guys, I've lost the end. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we'll just wrap this around. This pom-pom maker is sitting there all lonely, and I'm like, I gotta finish it. I gotta finish it. We have time. So we'll just wrap it around. It says, can you make poppy flower pom-poms? Well, I've made flower pom-poms. I have them on the floor here, but I'm not sure exactly what the question means, but you can make little flower poms. Okay, dangerous, guys. So I just added a pom-pom onto a stick. I'm not sure if that's what the question is, but you can make poppy flower. Oh, like a poppy flower. Yeah, I have made poppy flower pom-poms before. And so I've added, while I'm making, I've added poppy designs into the pom-poms. And I think that's what you mean. But yes, the answer is yeah. Is that one of my friends asking that question? Are you trying to trip me up on camera? Because you were successful in that. Oh, let's move this down.
Sorry.
So the name Poppy Joy Pompoms is actually my daughter's two middle names. She's Poppy Joy. And when I was trying to think of a name for my company, I just thought it was the perfect name. Pom-poms are joyful and they're cute, and I felt like it was just the perfect name for my company. My son's middle names are Timothy Oak, which also would be a good name for a company. So if you have any ideas of what I could make, Timothy Oak, I don't know, Timothy Oak hats, Timothy Oak ties. That's what Justin is suggesting, but don't steal that name. Don't steal my Timothy Oak name. All right, so just snap it in and snip. And again, we'll snip around. Some string here. I keep calling it string, but it's just a thinner yarn. And then I'm gonna put it in and make sure it's right around the center of the yarn. And so this will help it not to wiggle. You tie it on once. This one we'll tie 3 times just for the sake of it. So we'll tie it once on this side. And then you'll flip it over and bring the strings through again and tie it. And you can always squeeze it tighter every time you tie on the opposite end, Because if you tie it once, so that first knot is as tight as it's going to be. So giving 1 or 2 extra ties just allows you to make a tighter pom-pom. We all want tighter pom-poms, right? Okay. How do I clean up all the fluffs? Sometimes I have a lint roller. I wear black, I'm like covered in fluff. But in general, I've gotten pretty good at keeping it into one spot. But you could just wipe it down with a wet paper towel or something like that, or if you have a lint roller. Okay, so I think I've done it 3 times. I've lost track. And the ends pop out, and you pull it apart, and there you go. So we have some time, so I'll just trim this one up. Might as well. But honestly, there's pom-pom fluff everywhere in the house. All the corners of the house have pom-pom fluff. You'll find it in the washing machine, of course. I wonder how much I've eaten. Nice fiber, acrylic fiber diet. Oh. So I'm so used to doing this, I should have been doing it slower, but I'm just trimming off the long ends. But when I'm working, I'm constantly rotating the pom-pom and trimming it. The danger of that is you can make it an irregular shape, but it's just now like second nature, and so I just keep on trimming. I like to have a bunch of different pom-pom makers because I enjoy the different sizes and the different textures they make, and so I say just buy all the pom-pom makers. I actually made a giant pom-pom that was someone commissioned. They wanted the size of their head, and there's no pom-pom makers that size, so I made it out of cardboard, and it was about this big. But I watched, there's on Instagram, her account is called iMakestagram, and she made a pom-pom that's bigger than her dog. She has a little wiener dog. So I'll get there.
Someone on Instagram is saying they never thought they never thought about the uses of pom-poms, and now that they're looking for them everywhere.
Yes, pom-poms and everything. So what I make pom-pom primarily for clipping on your keychain, because if you have a big bag, or even if you lose your keys a lot, it just helps you to not lose them as much, or clipping on a purse. I also make the garlands for home decor, or for birthday parties, and what's great about that, if when you have a party, you can use it the next year, and also you could also incorporate it into your house throughout the year and then bring it back out for the birthday party. That's what I did for my kids' birthdays. I made them each a garland for their birthday. And so for the birthday party, I have it out, and then when it's not their birthday, it's in their room as decoration. Sometimes I make accessories, but it's not very often, in clips or headbands. And I know people suggest things all the time, but I feel like if I'm not passionate about making a pom-pom item for whatever particular reason, then I'm just not going to make it. And maybe down the road it will be, but I feel it's important to be passionate about it because then it turns out well. Sometimes when I try to do color palettes that aren't really to me, it doesn't turn out quite as well because it's not executed properly because I wasn't passionate about it, but I feel like the things that I like the most, people like the most. So just to go with what you like. And that is about it, unless anyone has any questions. If I went over something too quickly, if you want to ask before we wrap up. But here's your pom hangers. And sorry I didn't get all to the color combinations. Lindsay wanted fuchsia, orange, and I think a light pink. So I might have to make one for you. I did bring out the orange for you, Lindsay. I didn't get to using it. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me in my home, and I really hope you enjoyed a little lesson on pom-poms. And yeah, they bring me joy, and I really hope it brings you joy as you start making pom-poms on your own. And you can find me on Instagram, or I have a website, which I'm going to botch if I say it right now. It's probably Poppy Joy Pompoms .bigcartel.com, I think. But if you Google Poppy Joy Pompoms, it'll all come up, right? There's one time I made business cards in the middle of the night, and I didn't put any of my info on it. And I figure that everyone has Google, and so now I just use those as like nameplates. But so thank you so much for having me, CBC Manitoba. It's such a pleasure to be here this evening doing this for you, and I hope I'll see you guys around.
Great job.
Okay.
I faded it out as soon as you said goodbye.
Yeah, good job. You did
Oh
great.
no.
What's wrong?
Oh, I don't know if I missed it. If I should have said this. You can watch each of the beginning
Oh, don't worry about
episodes. Okay.
Good job.
Thanks. So, well, the lights, I'm sweating because of the lights, but even if the lights weren't on me, I'd be